All right.
Welcome to another edition of Hockey from Home. It's brought to you by Nationwide. I'm Bob McElligott, and today, which is just fitting because it is May the 13th, and I'm joined by number 13 for the Blue Jackets. Cam Atkinson is my guest right now. Cam, thanks for taking some time out of your day to answer questions from our fans. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bobby.
Well, you look like you're in a very nice and relaxed setting today. It's a beautiful day outside, so are you happy to finally be able to get outside and do some stuff with the family?
For sure. I'm just happy that it's not raining or there's a freeze warning. So I'm finally wearing some shorts and a short sleeve shirt, and everyone's inside right now, but I'm sure at some point during this 30 minutes, they're going to come outside and they're going to be buzzing. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Cam has been one of the more busy people during this NHL pause because he and his wife Natalie had their second child. So, and that was early on in this whole thing. So, have you gotten adjusted to family life with two young boys?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think having this time off, it allows me to really be a stay-at-home dad and wake up early and really take advantage of when everyone's sleeping for nap time around 3 or 4. But yeah, no, it's been great. Declan's been a great big brother to Caden. Pleasantly surprised by that, and Caden's been sleeping through the night, maybe waking up one time, so that definitely helps as well with mine and Nat's rest. So it's been pretty solid so far.
All right, now that we've set the stage, let's get to questions from the fans. And since we're talking about young boys, let's start with a question from Christopher, who's 8 years old. And Christopher actually just wants to know something very simple. He says, what is your favorite breakfast cereal? Mine is Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and so is Nick Foligno's. So he wants to know if you and Nick have anything in common when it comes to breakfast cereal.
We definitely do have something in common there. I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I love Reese's Pieces Peanut Butter Cup. Those are not that I'm eating those on a regular basis, even though I could, but those two probably are my favorite. And I like Honey Nut Cheerios too. Those are my three go-tos. All
right, perfect. During the season, is cereal in the repertoire, or is it more eggs and something a little bit bigger, healthier, especially on a game day?
Definitely something more healthier. I eat a good amount of eggs. At the rink we have the chef there. Well, even on the road we have chefs at the hotel. So I try to, especially on game days, load up on calories. So in the morning, I like to eat as clean as I can, but eggs and avocado with some fruit, maybe some yogurt and granola. That's about it.
All right, here's another question from Elijah and Ethan. They are both 11, and they want to know, and I want to know this too, so I'm bringing it to you. Who would win in a fight, you or Nathan Kirby?
That's a pretty solid question. I think I probably will. I'm sure he thinks the opposite. No, I mean, I have to give him a lot of credit. He's really strong. I've been fortunate to train with him and see how he trains in the off season. Pound for pound, he's one of the strongest guys I've ever known. So like I said, I like to think that I could beat him up, but I'm sure he can. It'll be a good fight. Let's just say that.
Yeah, both with the lower center of gravity, the balance will be good on both sides, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's go to another question here. This is from Ben, who's 7 years old. And Ben wants to know, what is your favorite sports movie?
Sports movie?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to think what I've seen recently. I mean, I love Miracle. That's always a go-to. I love Any Given Sunday. I mean, there's just so many. Happy Gilmore. The list can go on and on and on. I think those are probably, I'll just stick with those three right now.
Okay, that's fair. Very fair. Here's a question from Richard Swenson, who wants to know, why is everyone growing beards? What's your answer to
that? Trying to grow a beard in my defense. I think we just have the time, right? I mean, you can't get a haircut. You're just kind of letting everything go until we get the okay to go back to normalcy and that sort of thing. So I actually trim my beard up a little bit. Not that you can see it or lack thereof before. But I like it. My dad's growing one out right now. I think it's just one of those things where you can't get kicked out of the house for that, and might as well ride it out as long as you can.
Can't get kicked out of the house for anything. You're trying to get kicked out of the house. You're not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm the same way. When it first started, I was just kind of like, you know what? This is you're being told to stay at home and all this stuff. Maybe I'll just let it go until we finally go back to work. And I'll be honest with you, Cam. I thought it was going to be like 2 weeks of nothing growth for me, and we were going to be back to work. I didn't expect it to last for 2 months. So I agree. I think it's just, and everybody I talk to, all the guys seem to have them. It's almost like, well, it would be playoff season anyway. So this is the time of year, right?
No, for sure. I mean, I like yours. I think you should keep it rocking. You got like the gray that kind of blends in with the reddish strawberry blonde. It's I like it. I think it's a new look for you.
Yeah, it's something. It's something. All right, let's go to Ryan. Ryan is 7 years old. He plays mite hockey at Kaha. And Ryan just wants to know, who is the toughest player in the NHL to play against?
That's a good question. I think every guy probably has different answers, but being a smaller guy, the heavier guys that play hard and make it hard for you to get to the dirty areas to score goals, and that's obviously what I like to do, is score goals. And a lot of my goals are right in front of the net, so I tend to take a beating, but I embrace it and love it. I mean, Char's one of those guys just because he's such a big guy. If he does get a hold of you, with a cross check, he could break every bone in your body. I'd say Shea Weber is another guy. Those guys, if they do get a hold of you, or if they pin you in the corner, or if they line you up, they're coming. So you prepare yourself for brace for impact. I should say.
All right, fair enough. Hey, got a lot of kids on here today, which is great. And Colin is 9 years old and wants to know, who was your favorite player when you were growing up?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple that come to mind. When I was younger, probably 5 to 8, it was the Wayne Gretzky's and Wayne Gretzky and Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg. Once I got a little bit older, realized, just kind of wasn't going to grow, I guess, anymore. And I was a smaller type player with speed and skill. I loved watching Theo Fleury when he was still playing. Brian Giunta, Marty St. Louis, those smaller stature guys that gave the smaller guys a fighting chance to, reach the ultimate goal, and that's make it to the NHL and a chance to win the Stanley Cup. So.
And Marty St. Louis is a guy that you know very well and you skate with. And heck, last year he was a part-time coach with the Blue Jackets. What's it like as a player in the NHL, getting a chance to work with somebody that you watched and you tried to mold some of your game after when you were younger?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that he puts in 200% effort in anything that he does, whether it's in the gym or golf or anything outside of hockey. He's probably the most competitive guy that I've ever met. Whether it's just egging him on, coming back from a workout or hockey practice, just saying, I'll get to the exit before you can. Not that we're racing on the highway or anything like that, but just I know how to kind of turn the buttons for him. But yeah, I mean, I also got engaged at his house, and my brothers do the landscaping for him as well. So it's pretty cool. It's something that I definitely didn't take for granted. I picked his brain as much as I could in the gym and on the ice and just certain positional plays and where to be in certain situations. I would say, he's pretty much achieved everything that you can possibly achieve as a hockey player, individual goals, team goals, and just an honor to know him and call him a friend.
All right, here's a question from Carly. Carly Circosta says, what is the funniest thing that has happened since you've had to stay home? I'm guessing with having 2 little kids, there have been a few laughable moments because kids do the funniest things.
Laughable moments. I'm trying to think something that's happened recently. Declan loves playing with the hose outside. As soon as we come out, that's all he wants to do. He wants me to turn the hose on. And I have one of those nozzles on the hose that, there's like 8 different functions of different sprays. And no, he he's almost 2. He'll be 2 in July, but it's amazing how they know how to push your buttons and know how to really, uh, I guess, get you going. I mean, I always say, spray the grass, don't spray into the furniture. And sure enough, he'll point it at me like he's gonna spray me, and doesn't, because I yell at him a little bit, and then he looks at me again, gives me the side eye. But there's been times where he sprayed me. It's out of my control, and spray my pants, and it's just all you can really do is laugh. And he doesn't know any better, but it's yeah, I guess that's one of the funniest things that's happened lately.
And the really funny thing is, when you were a kid, I'm sure you never did that to your dad. I
No,
mean, it never happened, but yet it happens when you're a dad. The kids, I just don't get it either. I'm
yeah,
sure
I
I
mean,
would.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to ask you this question. And you work with a lot of kids with the battery that you have. You see a lot of kids come through there. Jacqueline has this question. She says, "My son is almost 4 and can only fully use one of his arms. He loves hockey and he wants to play so bad. Any suggestions?" And there are a lot of opportunities for kids like that today, aren't there?
No, absolutely. I mean, I would say, especially now, you see so many kids with different, abilities, just putting in the effort. It kind of hits a home first story for me. It's, don't let anyone tell you what you can and cannot do. So, um, it's, we definitely offer something like that at the Battery as well. We have all coaches from all fields, boys and girls. And they help develop kids at all ages. So yeah, definitely I would say check the Battery website out, and if they haven't already, and see if their kid could sign up for a specific development, as far as whether they want to work on stick handling, or shooting, or just different sort of things like that.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, there's so many opportunities now in the game, and there are. This is a game where I think if you just look at it from the outside, you would think there are limitations. But when you break down every level and what's going on, and especially when you watch those guys play sled hockey, for crying out loud,
Yeah.
there are really no limitations in hockey, are there?
It's unbelievable. I mean, I've been on the ice a couple practices with sled hockey teams. I've actually never gotten into a sled, just because I don't think I would be. I don't think I can. It's people think that playing hockey's hard, and it definitely is. But those guys are a whole nother level, guys and girls. I mean, they what they're able to do as far as move the puck, in between kind of the I guess the sled, and be able to go around guys, and at the same time use their bodies for checking and stuff like that. It's it, it's unbelievable. So I give a lot of credit to them.
Let me ask you this question. This is coming from Terrence Moore, who says he would like to know your thoughts on teammates having time to fully recover from injuries that happened during the season, because being healthy as an entire team and moving into an unknown abbreviated season, maybe playoffs, just your thoughts on that. And hey, by the way, you were one of those injured guys. I know you were going to return and play against Pittsburgh if we would have been able to play that game on March the 12th. But what are your feelings about that? Everybody getting a chance to be healthy, and if you come back and play this summer, being at full strength for the first time, maybe ever.
I think it's every management, coaches, and teammates dream, right? I mean, it's look at the position we're in right now. We're in a playoff spot, and for our team to potentially be 100% healthy, I mean, it's exciting, because we know what we have in that locker room, and uh, we know what we can achieve when we're all healthy. So it'll be interesting, and hopefully we can figure something out as far as being able to go back to playing, if all safe. But yeah, I mean, that's exciting. Gets me jacked up.
Here's a question. I hope I'm saying this right, from Sasan, who says individual play is not the same as team play. So during the downtime, how can you stay as close to game shape as possible? Because individual skills are great, but how do you stay ready for the game shape, and both physically and mentally? What have you been trying to do personally, Cam?
Yeah, I mean, there's many things you could do. Watch a lot of film, go to YouTube and type in whatever level you're at. But I mean, I tend to watch a lot of my highlight reel goals, or just any goal, and in general, just to kind of get my mind wrapped around where I need to go and where I need to be in those areas where I score a majority of my goals. So that's mentally how I kind of stay sharp. Um, Physically, I mean, there's only so much you could do if you don't have access to ice. Obviously, you can bulk up in the gym and get on the bike or rollerblade or go to the track and just cardio wise to try to stay remotely close to hockey shape. But there's really nothing you could do to get you in that hockey shape. Fortunately for me, I actually went to the Battery last night to skate, so I'm in a different situation where it's nice to own a little rink, I guess. But it's amazing, I mean, I haven't skated for close to 2 months. I felt good, but at the same time, how rusty you really are. All that muscle memory that you lose. So, like I said, it's go to YouTube, watch a bunch of different films or tapes or whatever, or players that you look up to, and try to, outside of if you can't get access to ice, do a bunch of cardio. There's so many exercises that you can do, just body weight. You can also YouTube that if you don't have any idea. And yeah, just go to the track and do some sprints and stuff like that.
You were talking about rollerblading, and I know a lot of guys have been rollerblading, but the one thing you can't do with rollerblades is make the stops in the cuts like you do on ice skates, right? So what's that transition going to be like? And as you said, you just went back on the ice. So, how tough is that? That one part, which is a really important part that you can't work out on the street with.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's only so much you can do, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, one thing that helps with me and that sort of thing is whether you have access to go to a track, or even if you have some room in your backyard or front yard, there's always little drills you could do, cone work drills for quick agility, whether it's 5 to 10 yards. I mean, that's really all you need. And there's definitely a lot of quick feet movements, that could help you out in a lot. But translating that into hockey, and just those pivots and those tight turns, kind of keep your ankles and your legs kind of in that same movement and motion.
All right, here's another question. I can't wait to hear the answer to this one. Actually, Brian asked this question: who is the one teammate who cannot shut up in the locker room?
Only one? I mean, there's a bunch.
Well, you can make that list as long as you want to. It's your show.
Yeah, Nick Foligno, but he's definitely one of those guys. But he also has to be the most vocal, just because he's our leader, our captain. But even when it's really not hockey related, he just has so much ADD that he can't help himself. Let's see, who else? We have a lot of young guys on our team, so we don't really have a lot of guys. There's a lot of quiet guys, a lot of quiet European young guys that kind of have their own little, cults or whatever. Let's see, Foligno is definitely one. Probably Savvy. Savvy's another guy that, an older guy, and just that French Canadian accent, that thick accent, and he usually, I did a couple of interviews, and I'm not sure if it was with you, but he likes to keep the boys loose, I guess, and jokingly, and it's all good fun. So those guys for sure.
All right, here's an interesting question here that I've found in my list, and this is from Teresa. Teresa wants to know, and I don't think you know the answer to this question, but I'll take a different tact on it if you don't. Why are the goals announced twice, like in the building, right? When they go through, they announce goals, they announce them twice. But you like that as a scorer, don't you? I want to hear your name.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I guess I didn't even realize, or maybe I do, but that they announce it twice. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you did something good other than if you get a penalty. But yeah, hearing your name twice, it's always a positive thing, and especially when you like scoring goals or getting an assist. Yeah, it's always good hearing your name. It means you did something good.
Yeah, and I think they just do it to make sure that you got it as a fan, right? They want to let you know who scored the goal and who got the assist. And the problem is the doggone game moves so fast now that many times you got to go back and fix it because they have to go look at the video because they're in your great example of this, when guys in front of the net, there's so many redirects and tips. Sometimes it's so doggone hard to get it right, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now I think with the new rules that every goal is reviewed and for that sort of reason. There could be 4 or 5 guys in front of the net, and you never know who it goes off of. You always have those guys that like to get the phantom apples or goals, saying that it hit off them when it really didn't. Typically, as a goal scorer, when you actually did score or touch the puck. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. This is my trick. If I don't know, I just watch how you guys react, because the last guy that touched it, everybody always knows who the last guy that touched it was, right? I mean,
oh
if it
yeah,
looks like it's a shot coming from the blue line, but all of a sudden everybody's coming to you who was standing just outside the blue paint, I know for sure that you got your stick on that puck. So for me, the telltale sign is you and your teammates, because you guys, well, I shouldn't say always get it right, but I'll say 99.9% of the time get it right.
100%. I mean, like I said, when you touch it or when you didn't. And those guys usually when you score, I mean, goals are really hard to come by. So those guys usually celebrate a little harder. I guess, yeah, as soon as you see that one guy's reaction, whether you think you touched it or not, whoever kind of celebrates the hardest is usually the guy that scored.
Right. Exactly. Here's a good question from Elliot. Elliot's only 4 years old, but he would like to know, what is Declan's favorite toy? Elliot likes to play with construction toys and hockey sticks. What does your son Declan? What's his favorite toy? What's he like to play with?
Wow. I mean, we have so many toys. That's a great question. He loves anything that kind of incorporates him, with a stick in his hands, whether it's a mini hockey stick or, it's funny. He loves helping out cleaning around the house. So we got him one of those kid Dyson, where you can turn it on and he actually does the motion of actually vacuuming. Um, but yeah, I mean, he loves, I guess, like I said, anything that kind of resembles a hockey stick or a golf club or that sort of thing.
All right, here's Leo, who's 5 years old, who wants to know, other than Stinger, what is your favorite mascot? Who's your favorite mascot?
I guess, I have to go with what my wife loves. She loves Gritty for some reason. It's like she has a little crush on Gritty. So I'm not sure if Gritty's going to find out that I said this, but hopefully he doesn't come at me on social media. But yeah, I mean, Gritty's pretty funny. I would say I'll give him some credit there.
Yeah, he's taken the league by storm ever
Yeah.
since his arrival. Here's a question from Ramon, who wants to know, what inspired you to start the Battery, your rink there that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I've been here 9 years and I've seen kind of uh, the youth programs and all the new programs that have come in within those 9 years, and where it was back then to where it is now with the AAA team and all these high school teams, and just all these players that are born and raised in Columbus going off and playing in college and even the NHL. So I think ice is king around here. There's only so much ice. It's very limited. And growing up, I mean, I wanted to do similar to what I grew up doing as far as training, and that's on small ice, studio size rink. I just think that your skills develop so much quicker, and then when you get to real size sheet, everything kind of slows down. But just the development in kids in all of Columbus, I think hockey. It's no secret. Football, Ohio is definitely it's football, but I think just with Columbus and how successful we've been in the past, it's definitely a hockey state as well. And I want to hire the best coaches to really get these kids to their to reach their potential, and that is to make it to the ultimate goal and play in the NHL and that sort of thing. So yeah, really develop these kids to great hockey players, but also develop them as great human beings. Treat their brothers and sisters and parents with respect, and their coaches and teachers and that sort of thing. So I think it's been very solid so far.
Since we do have a lot of kids on here today, and I know a lot of them are hockey players, when you talk about the coaching, and it is very important to get good coaches, there's no question about that, but how important is it for a player, especially the young players out there, to do things that seem like they're common sense, pay attention, listen, do the things that you're supposed to do, and the respect factor that you just talked about?
Well, I mean, it's very crucial. But I mean, you have to understand that kids' brains are going 100 miles an hour too, right? So it's, it's I guess hard to really allow them to focus in some certain situations. But perfect example. I mean, I have my hockey camps at the Battery. I did it last year, and it's funny. It's like the first 2 days, everyone is just all proper and sitting down. I blow the whistle. Everyone's, gets on one knee. And then the honeymoon phase is kind of over. And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's slowly but surely kids stop paying attention. But yeah, I mean, I think it's very important that, these kids that it's all about respect, and it starts with the parents. So it's I think if they see their mom and dad, treating people with respect and that sort of thing, I think it kind of the apple falls from the tree. And so hopefully, it all starts at home and they're paying a close attention to how their parents interact in a good way.
And what about on the flip side, for maybe there's some people out there that they're interested in coaching, they don't know how to go about it, they don't know how to get into it, they don't know if it might be for them. Any tips for anybody that might be in that boat?
For coaching, just in general, or
yeah. Well, yeah, I guess it could be in any sport, but specifically for hockey, you're talking about you want to find the best coaches. There's a lot of people. Maybe you're young, your kid's just getting into it. You like the game. What kind of a process when you're looking for coaches? What are you looking for?
At the Battery?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we've gotten hundreds and hundreds of resumes from different coaches, all qualified coaches. It's a lot of word of mouth too, because I mean, it's not like I know a lot of these people, but I know, and they don't even have to have had a career playing hockey. But I need to know something. We're not just going to hire someone that wants to just get involved, because we want to be known as having the best coaches around to develop these kids. We've had opportunities to hire really good coaches, but I just, didn't like the way that they develop coaches. It's all their name, right? So, or develop kids. But we've been very fortunate. I mean, my partners, their kids play in the AAA program, AA program, and one of our other partners, Joey Nahe, he's been involved with all the youth programs growing up with Kaha, CCYHA, the Vikings, and it's he knows a lot of people around, and he'll usually give us a certain amount of people that will qualify of what we consider a coach. And at the end of the day, like I said, we need good coaches that can develop kids, but also have the same goal and mindset as far as developing as human beings as well.
All right, we've got a couple minutes left. I want to get a couple more questions in for you. This one from Elliot, who's 7 years old. And Elliot wants to know, what other sports did you play when you were younger? And maybe what other kind of sports do you play now when you're not in the midst of playing hockey?
Yeah, great question. I grew up playing, obviously, hockey at an early age, but tennis, lacrosse, those are my three main sports. I was, just as good at both of those as I was at hockey. I just had the passion to just, wanted to be on the ice or play roller hockey as much as I could with my brothers. But I mean, golf, soccer, flag football, those sorts of things where I tell parents that they can't be so stuck on having their kids play one sport athletes. I think, every sport kind of develops hand-eye coordination in a different way, different ways of thinking, different ways of movements. So I think all in all, you want your kids playing as many sports as they can, and just having fun. I mean, as a kid, you just want to have fun and shouldn't take it so seriously. And once you get older, you realize what you want, where you want your path to go down, and that's where you really commit yourself. So you'll realize that when you do play all these other sports, and once you pick kind of which one you want when you get older, how much those other sports have helped you develop in the main field you go for.
All right, here's a question from Philip, and I'm going to ask you this because I know Torts loves using you on the penalty kill. And Philip's question is, as a fan, it's always fun to watch you challenge the opponent who's attempting to enter your zone during a power play. Seems like 50% of the time you're successful in disrupting them, and maybe a 1 in 10 chance you steal the puck and you get a shot on goal every now and then, and you score a shorthanded goal. But how frustrating is that for the other team, and how much of a lift does it give the Blue Jackets, that kind of play, and especially a shorthanded goal?
Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in maybe something I didn't when I was earlier in my career, just because no one wants to get out there and play those minutes and block shots. But for me, I find that anticipating and kind of sneak attack and just disrupting is so much fun because it's a hard job, So for me, whoever I go out with as far as a forward, they know what I like to do. They know I like to buzz and be F1 and kind of disrupt behind the net, or think I'm going to turn up knowing that I'm going to go and disrupt them behind the net so they can't get a set clean breakout in. And obviously there's a lot of good players that are going to be able to make plays. But I take a lot of pride in disrupting and knowing I did my job for my teammates. At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
All right, I'm going to give you two more questions. First one's going to be really easy here. And I don't know what the second one's going to be like. I haven't picked it yet. But Nick wants to know, what was your favorite TV show when you were a kid?
Oh, Nick Foligno? What is he calling in
No,
right now?
no, it wasn't Nick Foligno. I was going to say it was Nick Ennis was the last name. And I thought that same thing. But, yeah, you never know. He could be trolling you at any time.
I'm not going to fall for that Tony Mazza that he got me anymore. But
That's right.
what kind of age group as far as shows, like
Well, I don't
Disney
know.
shows? Or
it's your pick. You were growing up. What did you like to watch?
Man, what did I like to watch growing up? Because I mean, I had 5 brothers, 3 older brothers that I mean, I didn't really get an opportunity to watch
Yeah,
any
you didn't get
Disney.
the
I
pick,
feel
right?
like, yeah, I feel like it was straight sports, right? That's a good question. Sesame Street, maybe? No, until I was, yeah, Sesame Street.
All right, perfect. Let me dig out one more here, and let's end with Grace, who is 10 years old. And Grace simply wants to know, how have you been keeping your hockey skills up through all of this time?
Yeah, no, good question. I've only skated a couple times, and that's because obviously I own the Battery Hockey Academy, so I'm able to go up there when no one's around and get on the ice. But I've been doing a lot of going to the gym and trying to stay in shape and build up that muscle. Almost like I treat it as if this was the off season, summer, where during the season you play, you're skating every day and you're in the gym, but you're not lifting as heavy just because you really don't have the energy. And for me, my thought process is in the summer, that's where you build up your muscle to prevent injury throughout the regular season. So right now I'm at that phase where I'm building up my muscle and just preparing myself for when we do get back into action, just to prevent injury if we jump right into the fire. So, I mean, I'm going to be going to the Battery probably twice a week for the next little while until I kind of hear what's going to happen. I don't want to jump the gun and get tired of skating at such an early point if we don't go back. But I just want to make sure that I'm ready to rock and roll once we get the green light.
All right, and I can't let you go before I let you talk about your virtual 5K you have coming up in early June. You're taking registration right now, and up until the end of May, if people go online and register, they get some extra perks, don't they?
Yeah, no, I mean, for all the people that don't know anything about it, obviously you could go to my social media platforms. You could go to fnf5k.com and you could register to participate or even donate if you can't participate. It's pretty cool. I've teamed up, my foundation, Force Network Fund, teamed up with Ohio Health, Riverside, and Dawson here locally. And all the money, all the proceeds are going to go to a specific machine that will be inside Riverside Hospital, for patients to be tested right then and there. And for, quick, rapid results, you'll get back within an hour and a half. So ultimately, this machine is going to keep all the doctors, nurses, healthcare workers, and even patients safe and a lot healthier. And any way to kind of expedite what's going on, I will do. So I'm just happy that I'm going to be part of this kind of groundbreaking development, and knowing that obviously everyone that's donated and participating is going to be a part of it too, and that you did your job, and anyone can do it. Anyone can sign up, and you don't have to do it in a day. But if you sign up before, I believe May 31st. You do get a pretty cool shirt. If you go on that website, you'll see the specific shirt. I think a bunch just got made today, so I'm going to go pick mine up in a little bit. You get a medal as well for participating. So right now, I think we've raised close to $30,000, which is awesome. I think Ohio Health will be promoting it this week, so any day. So I'm excited. It's I think the media has challenged each other too, so that's what it's all about. It's all about giving back to a great cause, something locally as well, knowing it's going to help and save a lot of people.
And again, in a regular 5K, you've got to show up. There's a starting line. There's a finish line. You're going to do it in just that one day. This is virtual. So it's a 3-day span, June 4th to the 7th. You have all of that time to finish it. And Cam, you don't have to run or walk. You can do whatever you want to, right?
Yeah, you can rollerblade, you can bike. I mean, it's any way to just stay active. You can even obviously, you can walk. It's one of those things where it's not a race, even though guys like to be, people are competitive and challenge one another, which is great. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to bang it out in a day. I probably will, just so I can, show people how fast I did it. But yeah, I mean, it's just I want people to get out and get some fresh air and be with their families or social distancing with their friends and just kind of have fun with it and make sure that they tag hashtag FNF5K when they're out there doing it. Take some pictures. You'll receive your shirt in the mail if you've already signed up. So obviously when that time comes to do it, June 4th to the 7th, wear your shirt and throw it on your social media platforms, and I'll be retweeting it and that sort of thing. So it's just a way for everyone to get out and give back, and knowing that it's going to a great cause.
All right. And again, it is fnf5k.com where you can go to register. You got to do that. Well, you don't have to do it by the end of May, but as Cam said, you get your T-shirt, you get your medal if you're registered by the end of May. You can do it after that, the first couple of days of June, but you're not going to get those perks. So make sure you go and you do it now and be ready to do your virtual 5K. Cam, thanks so much for answering questions today. It's been great. It is awesome what you're doing with the 5K and the money that you're raising and the help that you're giving to people on the front line. It's very much appreciated. I know it's appreciated by me, the fans, the organization, and of course, the healthcare workers that are going to benefit from it. So thank you so much. Continue the best health and safety to you and your family, and hopefully we'll see you back at work sometime soon.
All right, Bobby. Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks, Cam. That is Hockey from Home. It's been presented by Nationwide Insurance. For Cam Atkinson, I'm Bob McElligott saying so long and have a great day.